Hi, it's Nørgaard. So today I'm back with a new Battle of the Dupes video. Today we are duping Charlotte Tilbury's Filmstar Bronze&Glow. So I have W7's version of that product and the Technic version. So the W7 one is called Hollywood Bronze&Glow. It comes like this. The packaging is not super cute, but I mean it works. And in here you have your bronzer and your highlight, and you do have a tiny little long mirror. And here is the Technic one. It's called Sunset Strip. So this one doesn't come with any mirror. You have your bronzer, you have your highlights. So these are the two little duos we're testing out today against each other. Now I don't actually have the Charlotte Tilbury one to compare them to. I just checked and it's $68 and I just don't have the money for that. So instead of comparing either one to that product, I'm going to compare the two to see which one works the best and which one is the better dupe. So the W7 Hollywood Bronze&Glow has been around for a long time. It's like a classic in W7's line. It only comes in this one color. I know Charlotte Tilbury has two different colors, so one for lighter skin and one for darker skin. So that's definitely a con for the W7 one because this bronzer only goes so far. If you have more than a medium skin tone, it's not going to work for you. But it is duping the Filmstar Bronze&Glow in the light to medium version. So that's why it's not going to be darker than this. The same goes for the Technic Sunset Strip. This one also just comes in one color and it's not going to be terribly dark. The bronzers are slightly different in tone and in depth, which I will talk more about in the video, in the demo. The highlights I think are a bit more universal because they do both have a golden base, just like the Charlotte Tilbury one. And as you can see, the highlights are definitely also different in tone. And again, we will talk more about that in the demo. But let me just tell you a little bit of info about these products before we apply them. So as I said, the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze&Glow retails for $68. W7 Hollywood Bronze&Glow retails for £5. And Technic Sunset Strip retails for £4. So Technic is slightly cheaper. You do get slightly more product with W7. You get 13 grams. With Technic you only get 12 grams. But it's a small difference. And both of them have no scent and they have the same kind of layout. So you can definitely tell that they're trying to dupe the Charlotte Tilbury. So I think that's enough talking. I think we should just get into it. So as always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And that is it. So let's get right into it. So I did my base makeup. I'm looking real pale and ghostly. So we need to bronze up this face. I am going to use W7 Hollywood Bronze&Glow on the left side of my face and Technic Sunset Strip on the right side. So I'm going to start out with the bronzers and I'm going to start on the forehead. This W7 bronzer I've used a bunch. It's a beautiful medium satin bronzer. It is not too dark, it's not too shimmery. It just adds a perfect little glow and color to your face. It just blends in beautifully. It just blends so well. And I think it's great for beginners because it is pretty light and easy to work with and very blendable. But if you have more than a medium skin tone, it's probably going to be too light for you. I think that's the good thing about the Charlotte Tilbury is that it comes in more shades. This one only comes in this one shade. Okay, so that's the difference between bronzer and no bronzer. Now let's try this Technic one. I actually have not used this. It looks a little bit more warm toned than the W7 one. So let's see how they compare. I'm going to use a different brush. So immediately I feel like it's more pigmented. I don't need as much product, but it looks very similar. I feel like it might be a little more dark, but it definitely has that same satiny finish, and it seems easily blendable. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's a little bit darker because I don't need quite as much product. But once they're actually blended out on the skin, they look super similar. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit on the nose with both bronzers. They definitely both have that like slight golden undertone. So this is W7 up close. It's a beautiful bronzer. This is Technic, also gorgeous. And I definitely feel like they look super similar. Now let's do the highlights. The highlights also look a bit different. The Technic one looks more yellow and the W7 one looks more peachy. So let's go in with W7 highlighter right here on the forehead. I really like this highlighter also. It's a nice light golden satiny highlighter. It gives you a glow definitely, but not too much. And let's do the cheekbone. Beautiful. It is not the most blinding highlight that I own, but it is very pronounced. Now let's do Technique. I haven't tried this one before, so let's see. This one is definitely so much more subtle. Like you can barely see it. And I'm picking up the product, you know. It's barely doing anything. Let's try the cheek. Where is it? You guys, I'm picking up the product, okay? Okay, so I don't know about this highlight, you guys. It's barely showing up. It's like a very minimal satin finish. It's barely visible. And because the bronzer has a satin finish also, it's hard for me to tell if it's the bronzer or the actual highlight that's giving me the little bit of glow that I am seeing. I feel like maybe I am seeing it a little bit. But yeah, it's super soft. So this is W7. You see the shine. This is Technique. Okay, so the bronzers are definitely more similar than the highlights. The bronzers are almost identical once you get them on the skin, but you do need slightly less product of the Technique one to get the same result as you get from the W7 one. So if you have darker skin, I would go for Technique when it comes to the bronzer, even though of course this only goes so far. If you're more than like a medium skin tone, the bronzer still won't work for you, but the W7 bronzer is definitely more towards fair and light skin. But I really like both bronzers. They both have like a natural satin finish and they both look really good and they're both easy to blend. The highlighters are vastly different. As you can see, the W7 one is shimmery. The Technique one is very soft satin finish. So it depends on what you like. So I just read up on the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow. So it says that the Filmstar Bronze and Glow has a blend of pearl and pigments in the bronzer. So it will give you the contour look, but also the bronzed look. And I think both of these duped that very well. And then for the highlighter, the Filmstar Bronze and Glow has a golden base and reflects the light. Both of these highlighters have a golden base, but I feel like W7 reflects the light better. The Technique one is so barely there, so I just feel like the W7 one is closer when it comes to the highlights. I don't think the Technique one is bad, but I have applied a crazy amount of product and you're only seeing like a faint highlight. But again, it depends on what you like. So now I will do the rest of my makeup and I will be back. So I have all my makeup on now. And now that the whole look has come together, I feel like you can see the Technique highlights. So right here is like a subtle glow, but it's there definitely, I think. It's just not as intense as the W7 one. So if we do a little close up, you can see what the skin is looking like when it comes to the bronzer and the highlights. So this is W7. I think it's really nice. The bronzer is gorgeous and the highlight is gorgeous. And I feel like especially on the forehead, you can tell the difference between the highlighters. It's pretty shimmery over here on the W7 side. And not very shimmery at all over on the Technique side. It's like a faint highlight, just like it is on the cheeks. But it does look nice. It's a nice subtle highlight. And the bronzer is also cute. So far I'm not really sure if I have a favorite. I think the W7 bronzer is just so easy to use because it's so hard to overdo it. So it's perfect when I'm in a rush and I just want to bronze on my face because I'm not gonna get a big patch of bronzer. It's not going to be hard to blend out. And I really like the highlight as well. It's a really good standard highlight. But the Technique one is not bad. If you want something that's more pigmented, the Technique one is the one to go for when it comes to the bronzer. And if you want a more subtle highlight, then the Technique one is definitely your best bet. So I'm not really sure which one I think is the better dupe yet. I will definitely wear this throughout the day and we will see by the end of the day if either side has really faded or anything has gone patchy, so we can see if there's a big difference there. But so far both are good. Now I wish I had the Charlotte Tilbury one so I could compare these to it, because without knowing that product firsthand, it's hard for me to know if it's more like the W7 or more like the Technique. And you can only know so much from watching other videos, but it's just so freaking expensive, I cannot afford it. From what I've read online and from what I've seen when other people have been wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow, I feel like it's more like the W7 one, but as I said, I don't know for certain. So I will give my final verdict by the end of the night, where we can see if there has been any major changes to either side of my face. But yeah, I'm going to go now. It's about 3 o'clock and I'll check in with you later. So I'll see you in a bit. So I'm back. It is almost 11 o'clock at night. So the makeup has been on for almost 8 hours and both sides are looking great. The W7 side is looking great. The bronzer is definitely still there. The highlight is still there. It hasn't really faded. It hasn't gone patchy. And the same for the Technic side. It still looks really good. So I am honestly really happy with both of these products. I would say both of these are great if you're looking for that bronzer highlighter duo. I think the W7 one is perfect if you have lighter skin and if you like a little bit more of an intense highlight. The Technic one is also great. If you want something that builds up faster, the Technic one is for you. And of course, if you want the more subtle highlight, this is the one to go for. So I would honestly recommend both of these. I think they're both great. So which one do you guys prefer? And also, if you have tried the Charlotte Tilbury one, please let me know what you thought of it down below. I'm very curious to hear if it's worth the hype. So anyway, you guys, I'm super tired. I'm going to take this makeup off, take a shower, go to bed. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And that is all. So I will see you in the next video. So take care and bye bye.
Let go. It's the original Batman.